What's going on, guys? Trav with Trav and J Outdoors. So we are starting a completely new mini-series, which is going to be called Outdoor Conversations. If you're a part of our Facebook page, Trav and J Outdoors, you might have also seen our group that we run on there called Outdoor Conversations. And the whole point of this page is to promote our members to be able to talk with each other, discuss each other, and also us to be able to post things about the outdoors, outdoor topics, and anything such as that. Well, we decided to start a new little mini-series here on YouTube called Outdoor Conversations. The whole point of this mini-series is to be able to talk about certain outdoor topics for just a short little bit to give you all a little bit of insight into those, and also just kind of share our kind of like what we like about them and our opinions and everything like that. So we're going to be starting off with a super easy one for this very first video, and that is just going to be fishing. So we're going to be talking about the outdoor topic, fishing. Fishing is actually what started our whole outdoor channel on YouTube. Our very first video was me and Jordan going out, do a little bit of fishing. And we kind of thought that's where like our channel is going to go towards it. We thought it was going to be kind of standing around fishing, but ended up obviously evolving into a lot of different things like geocaching, magnet fishing, exploration, all that kind of stuff. But we're going to talk about fishing today in this video. And what we're going to be talking about specifically about fishing is our three favorite types of fishing to do. So when it comes to fishing, we have three types that we really love to do and that we really enjoy, and that we think personally is the most fun. Obviously, there's many types of different fishing out there, but these are the three that we like to do. And they're the most fun when it comes to, just us going out fishing and for family as well. So those three are bluegill fishing, catfishing, and bass fishing. Very, very common types of fishing. Most people know how to do them. Most people do them. And yes, a lot of you are probably like, wow, that's just so basic. Well, it is basic, but to me, those are the most fun. And are the most family friendly, easily doable with your kids and stuff like that. So starting off, we'll talk about a little bit about bluegill fishing and why we like it and kind of how you go about doing it. So bluegill fishing is primarily done. Most people use a setup where you have a bobber, you have a small hook, and you use like maybe some split shot sinkers to weigh that down. Typically, when you bobber fish, you'll set the bobber up about right here. You'll go down about a foot and a half, maybe 2 feet, even longer, just depending on where you're fishing, what area you're at. You'll put some split shot sinkers and then a small hook towards the bottom. This bobber will keep the hook kind of floating right above the ground or floating mid-range, however you're doing it. And usually use anywhere from like night crawlers, wax worms, grub worms. I typically use mealworms myself when I do bluegill fishing. And this fishing is typically done by, throwing out your bobber in areas. Typically, it's great to get around like logs, around dock posts, and like around and like brush and stuff like that. That's where bluegill and stuff really love to lie. And the reason why I really love this type of fishing is because it's really relaxing. You throw out a bobber, you can sit back, watch the bobber. It's fun to kind of test out and really see how well you can tackle these bluegill, because sometimes they can be really small to very big. All got different types of fight, different ways of setting a hook and everything like that. So definitely one of my favorite types to do. Super easy for the kids. This is actually one of the type of fishing that kids are usually introduced to first in their life, because it's super easy for them to throw out a bobber, watch it, and kind of start from there. And it's a good way to teach them patience when it comes to fishing and how to kind of really just look at those how that works and really figure out things. So that's really kind of like why I really like bluegill fishing. It's got a little bit of action. It's also very relaxing. It's a great beginner type for kids. Now, moving on to catfishing. So I did a lot of catfishing growing up. So bluegill fishing was a bobber, and then catfishing was some of the two types I was introduced to first. Catfishing, I've always loved it. My grandparents grew up living on the river, so we did a lot of fishing there. Catfishing typically is done using tight line rig. The way you do this is you set a hook sinker, usually between 1 ounce all the way up to 5 ounces, depending on the current of the water and what your needs are. I typically use a 2-ounce sinker for most circumstances. So you'll have a 2-ounce sinker tied right at the bottom, and then you'll go up just a little bit. So your sinker's usually here. You'll go up a little bit here, tie up a hook, and kind of let it dangle just a little bit down there. All these type of setups I'm showing you, like the bluegill and the catfish, I'll show up a picture. That way you could kind of see what that looks like. But that's kind of how you do catfishing. You could either use a straight hook, or I like to use a curved hook. That helps, when you want to sink the hook, set the hook, and bring them over like ledges or brush. It helps hold them a little bit better. But catfishing is typically done in deeper water, like in a river or in a lake, or pretty much any body of water that has catfish. But usually use night crawlers, minnows, shad guts, really any type of like small like bait fish like that. Catfish will go for it. Worms, of course, are always a big win with any fish. But any types of baits like that work. You can find most of these baits at even Walmart. Now, if you want like minnows, shad, and stuff like that, you'll probably need to go to an actual bait store. Or you can do the fun way and buy a cast net. So a cast net is usually a large net. It's got a lot of sinkers tied around the outside of it. You can actually use this to go up into like areas, usually like maybe around the dams or up in like creeks and stuff like that. Show the cast net and catch your own bait if you really wanted to. That's always fun. I used to do that a lot myself. But of course, that's a little bit more work. But, you got to put in the work sometimes to get the fish that you want. But catfishing is really fun. Again, it teaches a lot of patience. But you also get a chance at really big fish. Now, catfish can range from, of course, little bitty, but all the way up to, large, super large. The biggest catfish I personally have ever caught was right around 30 pounds. They always get a lot bigger than that. They always get a lot smaller than that. But it's always fun because there's a large variety of different types, different sizes. You got blue cat, you got channel cat, you got flatheads, you got willow cats. You get all kinds of different catfish. And if you go out to the oceans, you got even more variety. So there's always a bunch out there. Again, this is easy for kids to do. You toss out a line, watch the end of the pole, wait for it to bounce. And then this is a great way to teach kids, again, patience. It teaches them how to set the hook, how to watch for that right moment to snag that catfish. So definitely a great beginner one as well. And then lastly, of course, bass fishing. Bass fishing is probably one of the most popular types of fishing, obviously, and there's many different ways to do it. I was actually introduced to bass fishing a lot later in my life, but I grew to really love it and really enjoy the fight when it comes to bass fishing. Obviously, there's lots of different setups to use for bass. There's topwater lures, there's worms, there's jigs, there's spinner baits, crankbaits, pretty much all kinds of different stuff. I'll throw it all up here on the screen for you, but there's so many different baits. I'm not going to go through them all in this video, but I'll talk about the ones I primarily use. So when it comes to bass fishing, I primarily use a Texas rig. It usually use just any type of color worm based on your waters. If it's darker water, darker worms blend in better. Brighter water or lighter water, brighter colors, whatever. But you hook the worm onto a hook, you put a little sinker right above that helps weigh it down. Toss it out, and you just slowly reel it in using a variety of different motions, up and down, little light jerks, stuff that kind of just imitates a injured worm trying to survive out there in the water. The bass will love it. The bass will hit it. It's my favorite type of way to do it. I catch most of my bass using that setup right there. But I use many things. I've used spinner baits. I use crankbaits. I use topwater lures there once in a while, depending on where I'm at. So if there's a lot of like lily pads or grass or growth like that, typically I'll try to aim for a topwater lure because that means the water's pretty shallow, so you don't need to go deep. Plus, if all that stuff's there, high chances you're going to get hung up. So using topwater lures in that sense kind of helps out a little bit. But again, there's many different ways to do it. When it comes to like hybrid bass or striped bass, I typically use a 3-jig setup, triple jig, as you can call it. Uses just small colored jigs, 3 of them attached to a line. Usually do this in like high current areas, kind of closer to a dam or something like that. That's where I've usually seen that setup work the best. But obviously, I've used it in other places. I've used it up in a creek before, and it worked wonders. Like I caught insane amount of striped bass that day. It just depends, again, on the location, on what's hitting that day, on the climate, on what's going on that day, honestly, or even spawning periods, because obviously spawning periods increase the chances to be able to catch them. So it just depends on a lot of different things. But those are the 3 different types of fishing. Obviously, catfishing and bluegill fishing are great beginners types for kids. Bass fishing is great for kids as well. It's a little bit more of a learning curve because, I mean, there's a lot of different things that play into it. But still a great way to get kids started, get them into it, and everything like that. But again, those were the 3 types of fishing that I really enjoy, that we really enjoy doing on the channel. But I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. This was just kind of a introductory first video of the Outdoor Conversations. We're going to be talking about so much on this mini-series. Everything outdoors is going to be covered. And pretty much everything's fair game. This is just a launch episode right here, just to kind of test the waters and give you a little bit of taste. But of course, with it being the first episode of the series, I want to do a little bit of a giveaway. So we have our own little Trav and J Outdoors pins, as you can see here. You've probably seen these pins in our videos before. We use them when we go geocaching and stuff like that. They're a nice little customized pin. They're very soft and everything, so very nice pins actually. Got a little stylus on the end. If you'd like to win one of these, have your own Trav and J Outdoor pin, all you gotta do is drop a like on this video, drop a comment down below, let us know what your favorite type of fishing is, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. And that's the way you can be entered to win one of these awesome pins. But if you like these videos, guys, make sure to drop us a like, drop some comments down below, let me know what type of fishing you like. And then, of course, drop some ideas and stuff that you'd like us to talk about on this channel. So give us some ideas. We're happy to explore those. We want input from viewers like you. That way we can explore different topics. So do that. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more of this little mini-series. And that'll end it for today. Till next time, guys, keep it.